Brakati Howell, Brakati Shai, Brakati Howell, Brakati Shai, Brakati Howell, Brakati Howell, Bashim Shai, Bahashem, Chakudash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. Salutations to the hopeful elect out there. You Akim to Sadakim that do the singing that most truth and sincerity. I'm the priest Shaman. This week's topic is going to be entitled No One Wants to See Bros. And this is inspired by, they had this movie come out, which they pushing that agenda called Bros, and the so-called white man deals with gradualism. First he had things like Hitch and I Love You Chuck, where it's supposed to be bromance, where they're not straight out playing for the other side, if you will, but have to act like that in the movie or something like that. Now it's a full-blown bromance with sex scenes and all that. Not bromance, but a rom-com, if you will, which dudes don't go out anyways to see no fucking rom-coms. If you go out to see a rom-com, normally it's your woman dragging you, or you taking a chick out in the hopes to, slay after. But most men, for the most part, most heterosexual men wouldn't go out their way to go see a so-called romantic comedy, right? Anyways, this movie did shit. Nobody wants to see it. People are tired of the agenda being pushed on them. And let's read this article real quick. It's the first time reading this article. It says, when Bros Bomb star Billy Eichner, sounds like a so-called Jew, put the blame on the audience. And that's another thing that they do. When they push their agenda and no one wants to see that shit, no one wants to see, you grew up loving Nightwing or Batman and Robin or Aquaman or whatever childhood hero you grew up with, Blade, and then they remake them into the other side. Nobody wants to see that, You forcing that shit on people and people are getting upset with it. It says, for years, talent has urged crowds to show us opening weekend to ensure the future of inclusive content. But Eckner's series of tweets felt more like finger wagging than an invitation. Most people don't want to see movies perform poorly at the box office, and I'd argue that most people, despite the go woke, get broke. Yeah, go woke, go broke means when you make a movie to fit a political agenda, nobody's buying it, Just like you had recently the movie The Woman King, all right? All female, led cast and warriors and woman kings, and nobody wants to see that bullshit because people know in reality a man is far more physically stronger than a woman, But in these movies, they keep having these women that weigh like 120 pounds kick a man that weighs 240 pounds through the window and shit, and he goes flying. So that's wokeness, It says get broke. It says social media rhetoric from a vocal minority see the value in consuming and identifying with stories about people who may not look like them or share their lifestyle. So it's disappointing when a film like Bros, featuring the underrepresented population, doesn't succeed. So here it is. You see what I'm saying? This is a perfect picture. They forcing it upon kids. People are upset with this, man. Let me read the scripture real quick. Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. Babylon is talking about America, but Baal-lon means a land of confusion. All right, and that's what America is. It's Babylon reincarnated. It's Egypt reincarnated. It's Sodom and Gomorrah reincarnated. It says that made all the earth drunken. Right, so drunken with what? Drunken with the wine of America. Just like how when Alexander the Great was on the scene and he was Hellenizing the world or Westernizing the world, or Hellenizing the world. Hellen is the Greek way of saying Greek, So he was spreading this philosophy all throughout the world, want everybody to consume the Greek culture. Guess what? The so-called white man is doing that now today. And I recently did something on this with the Buzz Lightyear thing. Countries banned it. It did terrible at the box office because they had two women, together and having a kid somehow. And nobody wants to subject their children to that. They too young, man. When a child is very young, a mind is young, it's more malleable. So you're putting impressionable things on the people's mind. He says that made all the earth drunken, the nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Right, so the ways and philosophies of America are pissing the nations off. There was a video of these women out there in the Middle East burning their hijab like in a campfire, and you could tell those men in the Middle East are pissed. Why do you think they blowing themselves up? So why? To keep their 16-year-old virgins, man. To keep their ways and customs. Who are you to go to our country and tell us how to live? So these nations are pissed off, These nations like to keep traditional customs. It says Babylon is. How would America like it if another country came here and tell us what to do, or them what to do rather? There'll be wars. So it's a hypocritical nation. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Right. So that's coming to pass soon. All right. Thermonuclear destruction upon America. It says, how for her? Take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed. Take balm for her pain. Hey man, this is like sarcastic right here, man, because that's like saying put ointment on a shotgun wound. It's too late to put balm on the marrow. You can't heal this thing, man. It's going down the drain. It's circling down the drain. It's only a matter of time before the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai come back and wreck this place and put righteousness back in the earth, put honor back in the earth, man, put integrity back in the earth. It says bro's dismal opening of just 4.8 million. So what's funny is their own community don't even really support this shit. All right. There's a lot of people in the alphabet community that ain't go out to watch this shit. See, so it says, and a string of eyebrow-raising tweets from writer star Billy Eichner, so he stars and wrote the movie, has sparked conversations about why the well-reviewed gay rom-com failed, and if audience should feel obligated to make a trip to theaters to prove they want to see inclusivity. Well, people talk with their wallets, and the wallets is saying nobody wants to see this shit. It says Ekner, frustrated by the opening, turned heads when he tweeted Sunday, straight people, especially in certain parts of the country, just didn't show up for Bros. Followed by everyone who isn't a homophobic weirdo should go see Bros tonight. See that? So you don't want to see it, but they're trying to paint you as a demon for not wanting to see it. But they're not demons for wanting to force it upon your children. You see the madness? Revelation 17:1, and there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto you thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. That great whore sitting upon many waters is America. It says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. Right, so fornication is, they committed into idolatry, they committed into democracy. All the philosophy, they bowed to the image of the so-called white man and the ways and philosophies of America. And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So this is it, man. When you drink too much, pissy drunk, you start to throw up. So these nations are throwing up all that agenda, man. You see? I'm talking about, you have nations here in America that's just like, I'm gonna pass. I'm not seeing that. I don't want to subject my kids to that. You know what I'm saying? It says, the tweets have not been well received. Ekmer tweets felt more like finger wagging, followed by moralistic confrontation rather than an invitation with a bit of warning. If you compare them to Viola Davis' more polite request last month to see The Woman King, if you don't plop down money on opening weekend, you're not going to see black females leading a movie again. So they're giving people an ultimatum. Either you see this, or you're a terrible person if you don't. Or you're completely against black females if you don't. You know what I'm saying? So this is the craft that they're doing. They're trying to guilt trip people into seeing this. Why? Because they know at the end of the day, as much as they force shit on people, if the money ain't there, they're not gonna go on with it, man. And people are talking with their wallet, so there goes the frustration. Just like I said with that movie, Buzz Lightyear, which I seen that movie and it was trash. It was overall not good. Now, it wasn't good like the old Toy Stories, with Woody Allen, or Tim Allen rather, playing Buzz Lightyear. It says, I'm empathetic to the situation. It sucks to be passionate about something and not see that passion met by a willing audience. Yeah, I think it's clear from the numbers that the box office didn't simply come down to straight people not going, or homophobia, right? So this guy is passing unbiased judgment concerning that the movie seems like it's just overall trash. Nobody's interested in that shit, man. All right. But if you speak against this stuff, they'll cancel you. That's what's so crazy about it. They're canceling people, having them lose their jobs, having them lose their career just because they don't agree with their narrative. Isaiah 10:1, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and not right grievousness which they have prescribed. Right. So They're signing these things into law, all right? They're putting this thing on Twitter, Instagram, all different platforms and canceling the shit out of everybody that don't agree with them. That's no different than 1984 thought police, pretty much censoring your thought and your speech. You see? But they try to make it, the so-called white man in his craft, try to make it, to sweeten it. You know, that's how come he says stuff like political correctness. Because he's trying to sweeten it and make it sound like, you know, he got to make it sound good. Political correctness, PC, BPC. When really it's just complete censorship, man. It's just complete 1984 shit. Several critics suggest that people were turned off by a line in the trailer that said straight people had a good run. Though I imagine that any straight person offended by that joke would never have seen the movie anyway. What Enric is overlooking is that a significant population of the LGBTQ community didn't show up either. Whether it was because the film didn't appeal to millennials and Gen Z audiences who drive the box office, or because it opened in October alongside Paramount's well-reviewed movie Smile. Bros didn't make a compelling case for a movie that was a must-see in theaters, even if people do agree that there should be more LGBTQ rom-coms, but that's comedy. Isaiah 29:16, surely a turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. Potter's clay is not really esteemed, bro. You know, it's clay, it's dirt. And eventually it shall be broken. So same thing here with these identity politics and the wine and the bullshit that they forcing on people. It's not esteemed, man. People are sick of this stuff. If you don't agree with me, you are this, you are that, and I'm gonna cancel you. What kind of shit is that? You know, we've been going through that with YouTube for the past, well, decades. So, man, teaching the word of the Lord, just bringing out scriptures. Oh, you are this, you are that. Hate speech. Meanwhile, rap videos could be up. Nicki Minaj could be up busting it open. Cardi B could be up there busting it open. That's acceptable. But the moment you said a woman should cover up herself and dress in modern apparel, red flag. That's the turning of things upside down. This is the madness that's America. You know? It says, for shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding? Right, so the things, who is framed? The white man, the so-called white man. Esau Edom was framed by who? The Most High. But the white man goes against everything the Most High has set up, from Genesis to Revelations, man. The first 5 books dealing with the laws, statutes, and commandments. The so-called white man will look at the law, statute, and commandments and say, oh, Bible says Leviticus 20:13. Oh, you know what? Let's do the opposite. Let's get everybody married of the same sex. You see what I'm saying? So whatever the scriptures say, be modest, you know, have honor, these types of things. So-called white man has completely turned it around. A man could have more than one wife. Here in America, that's illegal. You could get literally locked up for that. Meanwhile, you could marry your dog. So that's them saying, look, the ways that the Lord set up don't make no sense. Let's put our ways. While Bros doesn't feature any major stars as box office draws, the film is produced by Judd Apatow and directed by Nicholas Stoller. The former set the standard for comedies in the 2000s with Anchorman, the 40-year-old virgin, Superbad, Bridesmaids, and the later directed comedy hit Forgetting Sarah Marshall and Neighbors. Okay, these are some good movies. Anchorman, 40-year-old virgin, Superbad. Those are some funny shit. But you gotta look, back then they wasn't pushing the agenda that hard. So people would just go out and just, you know, okay, I'm not gonna be subject to you telling me how to think. Let me just have a good time in the movie theaters. Now, you try to go out to see anything, there's some sort of agenda in everything, like, and it's not even subtle. So people are like, man, I'm tired of drinking this wine. I'm tired of you trying to force, you know, your ways down my thought process. It says, Proverbs 19:10, delight is not seemly for a fool, or luxury is not seemly for a fool, much less for a servant to rule over princes. Now the scriptures tell you in the book of Genesis, the 25th chapter, that the elder shall serve the younger. The so-called white man was meant to be a servant, but he's ruling over princes, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You know, if you were to go into a Fortune 500 building, you know, one day and then the next day, all of a sudden the janitor is sitting in the chair and the person that runs the whole corporation is trying to clean the toilets, everything, the whole shit will fall apart, because that's not their lot. That's not what they're meant to do. So the so-called white man shouldn't be in a position of rulership. However, he is, and this is the end product of the world. People are pissed off. People are angry. You know, that's why the scripture says when the wicked bear rule, all right, the people mourn, but when the righteous bear rule, the people rejoice. And nobody has been rejoicing, man. People have been upset. I don't have to go on any further. I mean, the point has been made. You know, people are starting to rebel back against what the so-called white man is pushing through his media, through his music. You have people barging into classrooms now, where they sitting down. They have these you know, those transformers reading to kids and all that, and people are barging in saying, why the hell you have them reading to kids about sex and protesting and riot? So people are getting upset with this shit, man, and the forcing of the swan. But that's the Lord again fulfilling the prophecies and stirring up the nations and the people against the philosophies and ways of this wicked ass system. All right, that's the point I wanted to make. I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rachakodash. That belongs to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone with true wealth. Salutations to the hopeful elect out there, you Akim Tazadakim that do this thing in the most truth and sincerity. Shalom.